Everyone, the time is 6 p.m. We will begin with our caucus. Okay, council members, we'll begin with our call to order. Mr. Petrosky will lead the roll call. The invocation this evening will be led by Councilman Madsen. We have one revision to our agenda this evening. Councilman Majors is excused and he's noted to lead the pledge. I will lead the pledge in his absence. For communications this evening, we have Ms. Nelva Wright, the city's health officer. We will then open the floor for courtesy of the floor, followed by the approval of the minutes from the legislative session of April 12th, 2022. So if you have a moment, please review those minutes. We will then move to reports of committees. I will begin with the reports from the work session of April 19th, 2022. Next, we will hear a report from Chair Daniels on the work session of April 19th, 2022. And finally, we will hear a report from Chair Rodriguez on the work session of April 19th, 2022. We do not have any ordinances for first reading, nor do we have any ordinances for amendment. There are no ordinances for final passage. We'll then move to resolutions. Resolution 21 of 2022 will remain in the Community and Economic Development Committee at this time. Resolution 22 of 2022 will be voted upon. Resolution 23 of 2022 will be voted on. Resolution 24 of 2022 will move to the Public Safety Committee. Resolution 25 of 2022 will move to the Budget and Finance Committee. Lastly, Resolution 26 of 2022 will move to the Administration Committee. Is there any old business that anyone would like to discuss? Okay. Any new business?
Yes, Madam President, I wanted to discuss the Teen Summit and looking for specialists in the Parks and Rec Department for the summer.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay, and then we will adjourn. This concludes our caucus. We will move directly into our legislative session. The time is 6:03. I will call the meeting to order. Mr. Petrosky, could you please call the roll?
Ms. Daniels,
Here.
Ms. Green,
Present.
Mr. Madsen,
Here.
Mr. Majors, Ms. Rawls,
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Present.
Ms. Bowers.
Present. I would also like to note that City Council members participated in an executive session prior to our legislative session this evening to discuss legal matters. The invocation this evening will be led by Councilman Madsen.
Yes, if we could just do a moment of silence for those that have passed since we last met, particularly for the Fields family had a loss. So if we could hold them in our thoughts and prayers just for a moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman Madsen. I will lead the Pledge of Allegiance. For communications this evening, I would like to invite Ms. Nelva Wright to the microphone to share some updates regarding health.
All right, and I'm the health officer for the city under codes. under the direction of Ann Montgomery and the team. And just wanted to give a quick update of some of the activities for the first quarter for the health office. We are focused on 3 areas that I kind of concentrate on. There's a general health office activities related to food inspections and restaurant compliance areas. The second area would be in regards to general disease management, health and wellness. And then there's a third activity that we participate in with the Susquehanna Regional Airport Authority. So there's several initiatives that come out of my office related to those 3 areas. So just starting with the health office information regarding compliance and inspections and education. During the first quarter, we focused on safe food delivery, basically coming out of COVID and all the related safety precautions in food preparation and personal safety. We talked about Super Bowl safety, safe poultry handling. For Black History Month, we actually had a blurb on our website from Dr. Coleman, who's one of our food safety leaders, and the focus on that and the title that was representation of food safety in the minority community. Food safety and good nutrition activities at home, and springtime food safety and extra care during Easter. So most of this stuff is presented to the public via Twitter or our website. And also from time to time, there's information, flyers and so forth that are put forth in the community on the billboards, et cetera, and with mailings. Overall, in regards to compliance, there was an unusual increase in the number of national and regional food recalls during the first quarter. There were 20 food safety recalls that were either national or regional in scope, and anywhere from salads to different toppings and additives and seasonings and so forth, all the way through to medicines and vitamins. So it was quite unusual. With the discussions that were had with the Department of Agriculture, a lot of these recalls this year were tied into manufacturing processes in some of the cases. They really feel that although the causality was not, formally identified, a lot of the substitutions and lack of staff in some of the manufacturing facilities led to some of the errors, especially in the areas of food allergens and undeclared allergens being put in the food processing situation. So training and lack of staff and those things that are secondary to COVID led to an increase of recalls. The health inspections for the school districts were completed. There were all the routine annual inspections ongoing. We've done about 45 inspections. We have open applications still. At this point, 7 are scheduled appointments, 13 are pending appointments, 10 are in construction or administration hold. So that means the applications have been processed, but by the owners, for whatever reason, either their construction is not complete or they're having some kind of administration issue, they are not ready for me to go and inspect their properties or their restaurants. And 3 of these on hold applications are scheduled to be returned to the Mercantile Department due to non-contact and non-activity. So if I reach out to them over a 6-month period and I get no answer, no response, I then return the application to the Mercantile Department and their money is refunded. So the anticipation is that with the warmer weather and assistance from the part-time staff, that the inspections backlog will subside and we'll be catching up to, getting more, real-time inspections and shorter turnaround times. Secondarily, in regards to the Regional Airport Authority, you guys may have seen the general overview sheet I put out in the beginning of the year. And it was just something to educate the public about what the Regional Airport Authority, or HIA, Harrisburg International Airport, who they are, who the board members are. Brian Enterline and myself are representing Harrisburg, and just talking about what they do and some of the opportunities that they're presenting as far as employment. The second flyer that I put out for the last meeting actually talked about the job fair that they had on the 20th of April. They had 100 people turn up at the Fairfield Inn. So we are really pushing to, my position on the board is to try to promote equity and inclusion and job opportunities for Harrisburg residents. So I'm actively promoting opportunities for them to continue to do some outreach, to reach out to our communities and to our young people, and just bring the message of, who is HIA and what do they do, and how can we engage them and take advantage of some of the opportunities for career advancement in the aviation field for our young people. Tomorrow, the board meeting will highlight the DBE position for Sarah and HIA. There's actually a webinar tomorrow. I have included in that invitation our Director of Business Development and our Director of Equity and Inclusion, Carl Singleton. So they both are aware of the meeting tomorrow, and the HIA Sarah board will be releasing the disadvantaged business enterprise activities and initiatives for the rest of this year. So that's for those two areas of compliance and with the airport. And the third area of focus is going to be, or is, health and wellness, community health and wellness, and the initiatives around that. During the first quarter, the health office continued to focus on the big seven, I guess we call them, the health conditions that affect minorities most prevalently, and those would be the heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, stroke, cancer, liver disease, amongst others. Obviously, our community is disproportionately affected in regards to negative health outcomes, and we're looking to increase the equity and access, through this area, through this office here in the city, and through the state as a whole. And with that, I was fortunate enough to attend the health conference that the Department of Health sponsored. And the title of that was the Health Equity Summit, Momentum to Action 2022. So that initiative, again, was sponsored by the Department of Health, the UPMC. There were several healthcare entities that participated and were present and sponsored. And basically the Momentum to Action was promoting physical, social, and mental well-being in the urban setting. Obviously, there were roundtable discussions that I participated in talking about our specific needs here in the Harrisburg market. They were addressing health disparities overall in Pennsylvania and focused on areas such as Philadelphia, Harrisburg, and Pittsburgh, and just really talking about collaboration within interagency collaboration and what can we be doing to move health access and equity forward. Some of the topics were political determinants of health, rural and disability health equity, implicit bias, food insecurity, outdoor recreation access and healthy communities, and a youth perspective on the elimination of health disparities. So any questions or thoughts on anything as I continue through? It won't be much longer. Just again, focusing on Minority Health Month. Again, the national focus from the Minority Health Association aligned with the CDC was give your community a boost. So the website and also our tweets and social media focused on getting booster shots and encouraging those who were interested and those who were eligible to give themselves a boost and be up to date in regards to COVID in particular. In May, we're going to be talking about high blood pressure education, and actually it's National Stroke Awareness Month. So again, our social media, our websites, some of the mailings and some of the information, I'm hoping to have a regular display on the monitor that's out in the lobby area. So we're working with the communications department to make sure that there's messages that are related to healthcare and health equity that are going to be displayed in the lobby on the monitor on a regular basis. So we'll be talking and doing that. And lastly, I'll talk about one other convention that happened that was focused on mental well-being. And this was the redefined NatCon 22 that I attended, and it was the National Council of Mental Well-Being. And this particular focus was very unique in regards, there was 3,200 certified community behavioral health clinics, government agencies, and nonprofit organizations. So there were 4,000 people at this convention. And again, really focused on equity this year. talking about behavioral health and racial and social justice was very prevalent topics and workshops in that area. Community mental health and recovery services and housing, pandemic mental health, older adults, teens, disabled behavioral health interventions, trauma-informed care and grief management, LGBTQ interventions, mental health and money, which is very interesting. And there were vendors there, TED Talks, poster sessions. It was a very well put together program, and it provided a great deal of information that I shared with some of the other members of the Equity and Inclusion Board and with Code and our public as a whole. So those are things we're going to focus on. I won't go into a lot. Again, with May, we're going to be looking at the women's unique health risks. We'll be looking at Stroke Awareness Month. Someone in the United States has a stroke every 40 seconds, accounting for 1 out of every 19 deaths. So there's going to be definitely a message that we're going to be, promoting and talking about moving forward. And lastly, I'll be sending out a lot of these presentations to you. The last thing I just want to briefly discuss is that part of the initiative to increase the health awareness and activities for the city of Harrisburg. I've been going to some of the other health bureaus and health departments throughout the state. There are 3 municipalities who actually have their own health bureaus, and I've been assigned to go to those and find out, legislatively how they're setting up their health bureaus. What have been some of the challenges? How are they funding? How are they, sustaining themselves, et cetera. And I'm pleased to say that I was able to get to Allentown and actually sat down with their director of health and their health management associate, I think, and sat down with them, went through a tour of their facility. They have a full scale health department, health clinic. They treat a number and deal with a number of different disease states. They have a staff of 40, so it's quite a big operation, but they have about an $8 million budget. So I do have a breakdown of the different departments, whether it's child and family health, injury prevention, food protection, communicable disease. There's quite a few areas of expertise that they have, but what they did share with me are some funding sources and also exactly how the state Act 315 and Act 12 has helped them establish their health bureau and helps continue to keep them running and keep them sustainable. So it was very fruitful conversations. And if anyone's interested in actually seeing some of these numbers and looking at some of the data they provided me, it was very, very extensive. And I think it would be a great background for what we may want to do moving forward and how we could go about doing it. So with that, I appreciate the time and the energy and the opportunity to move things forward. And if anyone has any questions, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all of your work that you're doing. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Wright?
No questions. I just wanted to thank you, Nova, for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And if anyone's interested in actually seeing the PowerPoints, just send me a quick email and I'll send you the data.
Okay, thank you. We will now move to courtesy of the floor. Is there anyone on my right who would like to offer public comment?
Good evening, Council. My name is Ron Johnson. I'm the chair of the Neighborhood Square Watch Group. I have been doing that for the last 19 years. And every spring of the year, I usually come down here and they ask the City Council for a plan to help the Hilltop communities combat the illegal activities that are going on. Not so this year. This year, I've been meeting with the mayor and Councilman Rodriguez, asking to be a test model of what real community engagement looks like with our elected officials and the mayor and the administration and the police department. So I'm looking for this branch of the legislative body to join in with us, because it's the whole, the territory. I'm sorry I don't have the flyers with me tonight, but I guess you could get some information from Councilman Rodriguez. But we're branching out. We want to be used as a test model of what real community engagement with our elected leadership looks like. And we do know that we are stronger together. Now, I've been doing this for so long, And 2 administrations before this are served on the city's Public Safety Advisory Council. And I know that this merger will work and can be very successful if y'all just stand with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to my right who would like to offer public comment? Seeing no one, anyone in the middle? Okay, just a reminder, please state your name, your address, and you have 2 minutes to offer your comments. Thank you.
My name is Rebecca Leapart, and I live at 609 Shower Street. And I'm going to read a statement tonight that was prepared. I'm actually going to read it on behalf of myself and Dr. Kamika Campbell in proxy, as she was not able to join us, as well as Dave Morrison in proxy, as he was also not able to join us. This is a personal statement, as all 3 of our boards, we did not have enough time to get to run it through our board for approval. This June will be the 50th anniversary of Agnes, 50 years since the first historic preservation project occurred in the city. 50 years since the creation of the Historic Harrisburg Association, 50 years since the movement that ultimately led to the creation of 11 historic districts as you see them today throughout the city. And most importantly, 50 years since a group of people that loved living in an enclave along the river that we call Shipoke saved our community from being leveled to the ground and started a historic preservation revolution. It is in that essence that we stand before you today, asking how it could be possible that the same city, on the precipice of this monumental historic anniversary, could discount the same community from all dialogue regarding one of its most treasured historic properties, the Paxton Firehouse. Signed by William Lynch Murray in 1937 to replace a similar predecessor firehouse that was heavily damaged by a flood in 1936, the Art Deco style building boasts an unaltered exterior and serves as the southern gateway to the city, welcoming all that enter both the city and the historic neighborhood of Shipoke. It is also high on the Historic Harrisburg Association's list as a preservation priority. The adaptive reuse of this property should be well imagined with all interested parties at the table, including the Shipoke Neighborhood Association, the Young Professionals of Color, and the Historic Harrisburg Association. We are asking the Mayor's Office, Chief Ederline, the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Harrisburg, as well as any relevant parties at the county level to engage now with the community that calls this firehouse its home, and be forthright in the extent to which dialogue excluded pertinent members of the community and proceed with seeking proper conjuncture and buy-in.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the middle who would like to offer public comment?
Hi, everybody. My name is Brandon Basom. I live in Uptown. I'm going to set articles from local papers. One is an article from 2 years ago stating that State Street was at the time the deadliest street in the nation and has been in the top 10 for a while now. And the other is a recent article that I'll get around to. As disgusted as I was 2 years ago to find out, I was actually pretty elated to hear recently that we were going to on 2nd Street and State Street put in needed bike and pedestrian infrastructure. Needless to say, I was pretty disappointed when I recently heard that Harrisburg gets the PennDOT to stop all construction, both on the bike lane as well as on the road diet to calm traffic up through the State Street neighborhoods. Many of our residents around the city need to get to work, need to get food, supplies by bike or on foot. This is something sometimes by choice, but often by necessity. I do volunteer work with Recycle Bicycle. And at Recycle Bicycle, we assist bike riders from in and around the city 3 days a week during events. The lines are sometimes out the door, and occasionally we get so overwhelmed that we have to ask community members to return at a less busy time. Those in the shop for help that the ones that I see riding around the city range from young children to those who have been living in the city for 60, 70, even 80 years. I don't know any 90-year-olds walk around. So riders come from all creeds, colors, genders, and many live near our shop up at 1722 Chestnut Street. One thing we all have in common is how we get around, as well as the constant threat of traffic violence we experience. It takes one distracted driver, or just an aggressive one, to kill or severely injure somebody in the city, just Like last week, we had one up on Market Street hit by a car and had to be taken to the hospital. A good example of this is if you look at the State Street Bridge, you'll notice there are the old streetlights used to be on the curb right along the street. Now they're along the river because cars kept hitting these streetlights. These are over the curb and they're giant metal things that hurt the cars. Cars didn't care, kept hitting them. So what the state did was took the thing that they value and they moved it towards the river and away from the street. They didn't do this with the pedestrians, unfortunately. For the longest time, the city has correctly said that there isn't anything they can do. State Street belongs to the Commonwealth. Well, in this case, the Commonwealth had finally taken steps to correct this problem. And I'm not sure who, and I'm not passing blame, I don't know, but somebody in the city stopped doing it, which means from this moment on, any blood is on our hands as Harrisburg. It's no longer on the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I'm going to cut some of this because I don't want to go over time, but most importantly, the second article isn't about how the street is the deadliest in the nation, but is an article that came out this morning. WHP TV 27, there we go, did a story on the proposed road diet and the bike lanes. They talked to an international city engineer named Jeff Speck, who looked at the State Street in Harrisburg specifically. He said that the 7 lanes on State Street were far too many and far too wide. 7 being 2 parking, 2 each way, 1 in the middle, 7. PennDOT data shows that 5,300 cars travel in each direction every day. Even rounding up to 12,000 total both ways, Speck said that the road is more than fine with 1 lane in each direction. It's barely worth even having the turning lane. But that, I'm sorry. And moreover, the city lanes should be 10 inches rather than 12. 12 is the kind of lane that you put on a highway for 70-mile-an-hour traffic and not on a road that you'd expect 35 miles or 25 or something that won't kill somebody. Narrowing the driving lanes from 12 inches to 10 inches, and decreasing them 1 lane in each direction with a turning lane, for 3 total, there's still room for every resident to keep the parking they had and a 30-inch bike lane / bike lane plus maybe like bringing out the sidewalks, which is some of the most generous in the state, or I'm sorry, the city at least. And I mean, this is what we're asking that city council maybe push for with the mayor or whoever it is who reached out, that they continue construction, that they complete the bike lane, that they keep the city residents parking, and that they reduce the lanes, because even those parking are pedestrians going out of their cars. And if any of you have walked on State Street, which I know almost all of you have, if you try to cross that street at an intersection, it's incredibly deadly. It's actually less deadly to jaywalk. So taking it down to 1 lane in each direction, you only have to play Frogger across 3 lanes. Pretty much all I have. In closing, I just wanted to leave you with a quote from former mayor of Bogota, Enrique Peñalosa. He said, a predicted bike lane in the city is a powerful symbol showing that a citizen on a $30 bike is as important as one in a $30,000 car. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the middle section that would like to offer public comment? Seeing no one, anyone? Okay, excuse me.
First time I was actually watching project of making a bike trail. So I rushed down here. Also heard that a couple hours during the morning that can't park in front of the house be a problem. I work at home, and that'll be a problem for people that work at home. Nowhere to park. Even when parking, no parking before the street light. Nowhere to park. 18 feet side street. So I think it would be not wise, I can also suggest, I understand the concern. Maybe you can,
Excuse me, can you speak into the mic, please?
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
I think that's better. Thank you.
I suggest that reduce the speed limit. I think it's 35 miles per hour. Reduce to 25. I mean, that might help, the accidents from occurring. And also, as the gentleman said here, people jaywalk. They don't walk. They don't cross the street in the intersection. If somehow that can be enforced, that they had to walk in the intersection, maybe that would prevent the accidents from happening also. That's all I have. I just wanted to, say my comment. I was shocked to see the signs right in front of my house. I didn't know. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you. Thank you for coming. Anyone else in the middle? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Thomas Nozzario. I live at 321 South River Street in Shipoke. I just wanted to say that I also think that it's very important to make sure that neighborhood associations, historic associations, as well as other community groups such as young professionals of color are kept involved in decisions that are made within their community. And I actually was not here to voice any concern about the bike lanes in particular, but I do want to also show my support for that cause as well, because I think that we can all benefit from more bicycle infrastructure in the city. Thank you, board. I appreciate it. And I'd also like to thank Honor Rodriguez for working with Rebecca earlier today, which she forgot to mention. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the middle section? Don't want to miss anyone. Okay, seeing no one else, anyone to my left that would like to offer public comment?
Good evening. My name is Melanie Cook. I live in the 3000 block of North 3rd Street in the city of Harrisburg. And I came tonight for a number of reasons, the first of which, quite frankly, was to recognize and thank Ms. Hunt, who is the individual who stood before council and raised concerns with respect to those individuals who actually live on State Street and have lived there historically for decades and decades. I also want to make the point that discussions about how to address the speeding traffic on State Street have been ongoing for years. Pre-COVID, I stood on a corner with the then mayor, the then city engineer, and the engineering firm that was hired to develop a plan and watch traffic speed up and down that street at 17th and State. That was one of the public forums that the city held at the time to discuss what should be done on that particular boulevard. I suggested then that the obvious things should be addressed: changing the timing of the lights, painting obvious crosswalks, creating the pedestrian islands that the mayor had been and was touting and continues to tout for 2nd Street. All of this was met with the street does not belong to the city of Harrisburg. PennDOT has to approve everything. This and then was the time for the city to go to our elected officials at the state level, who have to value the lives of the number of people who have been killed on State Street. Anyone who's ever been in New York, in Queens, and is familiar with Queens Boulevard, that is like a 10-lane highway. And State Street actually took the #1 spot from Queens Boulevard in the city of New York. And if you are not familiar with it, Google it, earth map it, whatever you do, and take a look. We should be appalled as a community. We should be appalled as a state that we allow a historic boulevard in the city of Harrisburg to be turned into a highway for people to get in and out of the city going to and from work. And so it is perfectly clear. These comments were made prior to whatever decision was made during COVID without public hearings to discuss having people who live on the street get up on alternate days to move their cars back and forth and back and forth and back and forth so that people can come into the city for an hour-long period of time. That is what happens when the citizens are not actively or not afforded the right. I asked then and I ask now, anybody who was familiar with the scope of the public meetings that were held for the 2nd Street 2-direction project, no, they were ample notice. They were held in large forums. All the engineers showed up. There was not one meeting of any caliber with respect to State Street. Before the city proceeds, before the state proceeds, they need to copy that model
and afford the people who live in and around State Street the same courtesy they gave the people who live on Second Street, none of whom, we might add, have been hit and struck and killed on Second Street. So again, I want to commend Ms. Hunt. One citizen came in here and spoke up and turned the direction, stopped something that should not proceed. Now, am I saying I'm against bike lanes? Anybody who's going to get on a bike on State Street and ride during the time that the traffic is coming in and out of there is seriously taking their life in your hands. You can't paint something on the street, which I might add is what the then mayor said when I asked him what his plan was with respect to State Street. His exact words were a lot of paint and as little money as possible. The second issue is I would like to thank Councilmember Rawls, who is scheduling a anti-violence forum that is going to include the young people of the citizens who are also citizens of Harrisburg. I also want to commend the city and the police department who have recognized that putting police in visible spots have blessedly, knock on wood, resulted in us having, I think, 2 weekends in a row when none of our young men lost their lives. That can only be a first step. We cannot assume that flooding, I'm not saying they're flooding, but putting a strong police presence is where the effort should stop. It has to proceed from there to find out, again, why the guns are flooding into the city of Harrisburg, how these young kids are getting these guns, and how we stop that. So there is a forum tomorrow. Councilmember Rawls, I certainly hope this is the beginning of a series of discussions that will be ongoing. Another concept, well, not concept, another issue is several weeks ago, and I know my 2 minutes are up, I had written to a number of city council people about 4 5G towers that are popping up over the city of Harrisburg. Why some are metal and kind of Art Deco, and others are long, literal poles that look like they've been cut down in a forest and propped up in people's neighborhoods. I did not get a response, but I do want to put that question to council. In my block, there is a home that has had a probably 40 to 45 foot pole put smack dab in front of their house. Now, the majority of the poles that you see are on corners. This is the first one that I have seen that is on a residential street sitting directly in front of someone's home. The block received no notice until the wooden pole was laid out, and it literally went across the width of 4 houses. We, as citizens of Harrisburg, should be afforded the same courtesy that would be afforded in other neighborhoods when these decisions are made. Someone has approved, someone must have seen a map as to how and where these poles were going to be placed. And we, as citizens, deserve to know the logistics of this and to have notice and have some opportunity to comment with respect to the pole placement. And again, I thank you all for your commitment to the city of Harrisburg and look forward to working with Councilmember Rawls and others on the anti-violence issue.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Evelyn Hunt, and I live in the 1800 block of State Street since 1962. I will not be repeating all of the things I did last week. However, I would like City Council to know my neighbors, a lot of them wanted to come down here with me last week, and they wanted to come this week, but I said, the city said they're going to go back and look at this and come up with another suggestion. And at that period of time, if I am given notice or the rest of the public is given notice, they will be down here to hear what city council has to say and also voice their opinions. The one thing I neglected to mention last week, with State Street being 2 lanes going up and 2 down and 1 in the middle, that's in good weather. In bad weather, thank goodness we don't have a lot of snow. But when we do have a lot of snow, State Street is only 1 lane going up and 1 going down and 1 in the middle. Because I understand PennDOT has, their main concern is 81 and 83. It is not State Street. So when they come and clean State Street, they push all that snow and ice up against the cars. The cars have no place to put that snow and ice. So most of the cars dig tunnels out. So you have these great big piles of snow, limiting the number of lanes that are on State Street. And as far as bike lanes are concerned, I am not in favor of bike lanes on State Street. I would be more in favor of bike lanes on State Street if I saw the bike lanes that are already in the city being used. We're taking up a lot of space in the city with bike lanes that people aren't using. Show me that people are using what the city has already given them. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to my left that would like to offer public comment? Seeing no one, we will move to the approval of minutes. Council members, have you had an opportunity to review the minutes from the legislative session held on April 12th, 2012? Are there any revisions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, the meeting minutes stand approved. We will now move to the reports of committees. I will begin with a report from the work session of April 19th, 2022. On Tuesday, April 19th, 2022, the Administration Committee met to discuss Resolution 22 of 2022. Resolution 22 of 2022 is a resolution approving the adoption of the Dauphin County 2021 Hazard Mitigation Plan as the official hazard mitigation plan of the city of Harrisburg. Chief Brian Enterline, our fire chief, provided an overview of the resolution on behalf of the administration. Chief Enterline shared that the Dauphin County 2021 Hazard Mitigation Plan is the legal update to the current 2019 plan previously adopted by council. The major update for the city of Harrisburg is the 3 Mile Island threat of a radiological incident has been removed. Chief Enterline shared that an amendment is pending that relates to the Paxton Creek. Council members asked questions regarding the pending amendment and budgetary changes. Chief Enterline shared that Pima and other municipalities have approved and adopted the plan. I encourage my colleagues to support Resolution 22 of 2022 to ensure that the city of Harrisburg has an official hazard mitigation plan. On Tuesday, April 19th, 2022, the Budget and Finance Committee also met to discuss Resolution 23 of 2022. Resolution 23 of 2022 is a resolution appointing Marita J. Kelly, Director of Financial Management for the City of Harrisburg, to serve as the Dauphin County Tax Collection Committee Delegate for the City of Harrisburg. Ms. Marita J. Kelly, Director of Financial Management, was present to answer any questions council members had on behalf of the administration. Ms. Kelly shared that she attended the March 16, 2022 meeting of the Dauphin County Tax Collection Committee as an observer. Council members asked questions regarding an increased workload and potential conflicts. Ms. Kelly assured the council members that there are no issues with her workload and committee service. Ms. Kelly clarified that the delegate role for the city of Harrisburg has historically been filled by the Director of Financial Management. Finally, Mr. Neil Grover, City Solicitor, noted that there are no conflicts with her committee service. I encourage my colleagues to support Resolution 23 of 2022 to ensure the City of Harrisburg has representation on the Dauphin County Tax Collection Committee. The next report you will hear this evening is from Chair Daniels on the work session of April 19th, 2022. Chair Daniels.
Thank you. On April 19, 2022, the Community and Economic Development Committee convened to review two resolutions. On the first one, which was resolution 14-2022, the applicant has agreed to a 30-day extension on the land development project. So that's the only update on that resolution. On resolution 21-2022, we discussed additional questions regarding that property. That was our second workshop for that land development plan. And I think the additional facts were that currently, as it is, the land development plan expects 12 parking spaces on the lot, and there will be one additional off-street spot that's created due to the cutouts of the sidewalk. And the property owner also discussed rent ranges, which he estimated around $1,000, depending on what the final pricing of the materials for rehabbing the property were. I think those were the only two additional kind of facts. And that was it. I had initially suggested we add it to today's agenda, but the neighborhood association wanted to have some input, so we'll be hearing from them at the next legislative session.
Thank you, Chair Daniels. The final report you'll hear this evening is from Chair Rodriguez on the work session of April 19th, 2022. Chair Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam President. On April 19th, 2022, the Public Safety Committee met to have the Public Safety Quarterly Reports presented in front of Council. Deputy Chief Swanson spoke on behalf of the Harrisburg Police Department, and Ann Montgomery spoke on behalf of Codes. Just a reminder, the Harrisburg Fire Department have given their report at the work session prior to the 19th. The Harrisburg Police Department covered topics such as police recruitment and the PT test that was on the 23rd of April. The deputy also spoke about business checks, school checks, and mentorship efforts through the CSA program. There was even information about the possibilities of the FOP changing the current contract to allow the CSAs to handle versatile responsibilities. Director Montgomery for the Department of Codes gave us an overhaul of the citation process through the District Justice Office. The question of updating technology to make the filing processes more efficient also came up. It was ensured the migration of a new system underway through the Tyler Technologies is on the way. The Public Safety Quarterly Reports are attached to the agenda for April 19th of 2022 for the residents that may want to view it for themselves. Any recommendations or suggestions to improve the Public Safety Quarterly Reports, such as format, metrics, duration, or etc., please email me directly at rrodriguez@harrisburgpa.gov. One more time, rrodriguez@harrisburgpa.gov. And once again, I'd like to thank the administration for the partnership, all the directors and department leads for the diligence in preparing these quarterly reports for the public, and a very special thank you to my colleagues on council for their support in this matter. And that concludes the Public Safety Report for April 19th, 2022.
Thank you, Chair Rodriguez. Next, ordinances for first reading. We have none this evening. Ordinances for amendment, we have none. Ordinances for final passage, we have none. Moving to resolutions. Resolution 21 of 2022. Mr. Petrowski, could you please read that into the record?
Resolution 21 of 2022 is a resolution approving a preliminary
And-
final land development and lot consolidation plan to convert the existing building located at 100 North 13th Street into a 12-unit multifamily dwelling, and to consolidate 112 North 13th Street and 109 to 119.5 Linden Street with the same.
Thank you.
Can we get a clarification? Because I thought the chairwoman said they were not going to vote on this.
We're not. I just wanted to be read into the record and to reiterate that we won't be taking any action this evening since it was on the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Petrowski, could you please read Resolution 22 of 2022 into the record?
Resolution 22 of 2022 is a resolution approving the adoption of the Dauphin County 2021 Hazard Mitigation Plan as the official hazard mitigation plan of the city of Harrisburg.
Thank you. Council members, are there any questions, comments, or concerns relative to Resolution 22 of 2022? Hearing none, Mr. Petrowski, could you please call the vote?
Ms. Daniels,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Mattson,
Yes.
Mr. Majors, Ms. Rawls,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Bowers.
Yes,
Resolution 22 passes.
thank you. Mr. Petrowski, could you please read Resolution 23 of 2022 into the record?
Resolution 23 of 2022 is a resolution appointing Marita J. Kelly, Director of Financial Management for the City of Harrisburg, to serve as the Dauphin County Tax Collection Committee Delegate for the City of Harrisburg.
Thank you. Council members, are there any questions regarding Resolution 23 of 2022? Hearing none, Mr. Petrowski, could you please call the vote?
Ms. Daniels,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Mattson,
Yes.
Mr. Majors, Ms. Rawls,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Bowers.
Yes,
Resolution 23 passes.
thank you. Resolution 24 of 2022, Mr. Petrowski, could you please read it into the record?
Resolution 24 of 2022 is a resolution ratifying the submission of a grant application to the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for the purpose of developing and implementing a group violence intervention strategy to help reduce gun violence in the city of Harrisburg.
Thank you. Resolution 24 of 2022 will move to the Public Safety Committee. Next, we have Resolution 25 of 2022. Mr. Petrowski, could you please read it into the record?
Resolution 25 of 2022 is a resolution authorizing the city of Harrisburg to enter into a professional services agreement with Mayor Drusel PC for the purpose of providing audit preparation services to the city of Harrisburg.
Thank you. Resolution 25 of 2022 will move to the Budget and Finance Committee. Lastly, we have Resolution 26 of 2022. Mr. Petrowski, could you please read it into the record?
Resolution 26 of 2022 is a resolution confirming the appointment of Stephen Y. Akima Akbal Esquire to serve as the Senior Deputy City Solicitor for the City of Harrisburg.
Thank you. Resolution 26 of 2022 will move to the Administration Committee.
Madam President,
Yes,
just a procedural note. Because of the change in the Sunshine Act that happened in 2021 and how that applies to the rules the council has adopted, it's probably advisable to have a motion to move Resolution 21 back to committee,
That's
since
fine.
it was on a published agenda for a vote.
okay, not a problem. At this time, I will entertain a motion to move Resolution 21 of 2022 back to the Community and Economic Development Committee.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay. Now we will move
You have to vote.
I'm sorry. Any questions, comments, concerns? Mr. Petrowski, could you please call the vote?
Ms. Daniels,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Mattson,
Yes.
Mr. Majors, Ms. Rawls,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Bowers.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Now move to old business. Is there any old business, council members? Hearing none. Any new business? Councilwoman Rawls.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I have two new business I would like to talk about. One is the Teen Summit that myself and the Kappa Omegas of Omega Psi Phi fraternity are having on May 18th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at Camp Curtin Academy in Harrisburg. This will focus on teens speaking on the violence that's occurring in their neighborhoods, but also coming up with solutions, because we would like for them to know that there is power in their voices and that their voices matter. And we would like to hear them and speak with them and ask them questions as they ask us questions. The second thing I would like to talk about is Parks and Recreation Department. We are looking for program specialists, 4 of them to work with kids in the summer program this summer. One, we are looking for an arts and crafts specialist. It can be a certified art teacher or alternative. We are also looking for a performing arts specialist, certified drama teacher or an alternative. A game specialist that can be a certified physical education teacher or alternative, and a reading and math specialist that is a certified reading or math teacher or alternative. The salaries are competitive. You are working half days and rotating between 6 playgrounds, 3 playgrounds a day. If you would like to apply, please go to the Harrisburg PA.gov/Parks and Recreation website to apply. And just one more thing, I'm sorry about the Teen Summit. I wanted to also say we are looking for teen panelists on ages 11 to 21. And if you feel like you are ready to speak and have your voice be heard, it's a safe space for you. Even if you are not ready, this is going to be a series of teen summits. This is not going to be the only one, nor the only topic. Please email me at jrawls@harrisburgpa.gov. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other new business, council members?
Madam President?
Yes.
And maybe you were going to do this, but I wanted to just advise, because the administration advised me today, that they are going to make a presentation available at next week's council meeting on the State Street project.
Thank you. Thank you for the update. Ms. Evelyn, next Tuesday, the administration will be offering a presentation on the State Street project. So if you could please inform your neighbors so you can let them know that they can come in here and ask questions. We will begin at 5:30. You're welcome. So the date is Tuesday, May 3rd, I believe.
Yep.
Tuesday, May 3rd at 5:30. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, hearing no further new business, the time is 6:56 p.m. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.